the dark corner. My name is Cheese Film, and today's film is Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon is a 1980s space opera superhero film directed by Mike Hodges, based on the King Features comic strip of the same name, created by Alex Raymond. The film stars Sam J. Jones in the title role, Melody Anderson, Ornella Multi, Max von Sydow, and Topool, with Timothy Dalton. Man, these names are hard.
Timothy Dalton. And then you're probably going to say the hot guy's name.
Yeah. Mariangela? Is that how you pronounce that name?
I don't know.
I'm going with it. Mariangela Melio, Brian Blessed, and Peter Wingrade in supporting roles. The film follows star football quarterback Flash Gordon and his allies Dale Arden and Hans Zarkov as they unite the warring factions of the planet Mongo against the oppressive Ming the Merciless, who is intent on destroying the Earth.
And why does he want to destroy the Earth?
Fun.
He's got nothing better to do that day.
But he is an evil emperor from outer space who has conquered all, and everybody knows his name. Except for us.
Right, of course. And he also mentions the Dark Forest theory, where if there's aliens out there, we don't want them to know we're here because they're more of a threat. If they'll come get us if they know we're here.
Exactly.
Is what he basically says. That's kind of cool.
That is a cool idea.
And I think he's a great villain.
He is a great comic booky kind of villain.
Yeah.
He brings a menacing air to him. He's threatening from point A to point B.
Yep.
And I really think they nailed it with that.
I do too. And I think I can't see anybody else playing him.
Nope, not at all.
But then I've only ever seen him playing him. But also, probably nowadays you people would say they're whitewashing him. But it's an alien. Do you know what I mean? His name just happens to be Ming. And I'm pretty sure in the comic strips it was a racist stereotype of Chinese people. But in the movie, I never thought he was supposed to be Oriental.
No, it's just an alien.
Right.
That's an alien person. I mean, you do, I guess, have to address all that kind of stuff, like when Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings and his description of dwarves and stuff. People had a problem with that because are you making fun of little people or not? But
which he's not.
You're not
whatsoever.
No, you're not.
Is just a different kind of person.
It is, and to a degree,
you have to talk about that. We would never have even thought about it.
Yeah.
Even little people, or because I grew up around a lot of Asian people, nobody had a problem with any of this stuff ever whatsoever.
Well, it was the norm for so long, you know.
Never mind.
But Ming has, I guess, the powers of the Schwartz. I guess it's all in his ring.
It's like the Schwartz,
yeah,
or vice versa. And his costumes are great.
Yeah, he's got a couple different costumes that I like, and they showcase them.
They show it on the comic stuff all the time. He's got this black thing. It fits onto his. Yeah, I don't like that one so much.
Yeah,
but all the rest of him, he looks fabulous.
I'm a sucker for the cowl-looking thing he's got on with the sharp spikes on either side. I think that's really cool, and it's very of the times. You see that a lot in the 70s and 80s. Like Ace Frehley had that kind of stuff going on.
Well, Disco had big collars.
Disco and their collars. Yeah, I mean, even to a point, Dracula had the big red cone collar. I don't even know what to call it. It's just how it is. And Ming definitely has that, and he uses it really as his fashion statement. He has like 4 different outfits, and 3 of them feature that. One of them is just shoulder pads.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool that we mentioned in Barbarella how she goes through a whole bunch of costume changes, and in this one, the villain does.
Well, you know what? So does Flash. He's got this T-shirt with his own name on it.
I wrote that down. How are you gonna have? How are you gonna
branding?
That? Yeah.
Well, how are you gonna brand yourself? Him and he's got that. Then he's got the green underwear, and then that uniform, and then the uniform like pants, and he's got that tank top on.
Yeah.
But that uniform was cool looking.
It's a really cool uniform.
He should have just kept that for the rest of the thing.
This is definitely taking the we can make toys out of this.
Yeah,
approach.
Definitely, absolutely.
Now, they don't make Flash Gordon toys for the generic audience anymore. They have the NECA collector stuff.
Yeah.
But in my time, Flash Gordon has kind of slid into obscurity.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, did you see any Flash Gordon merchandise? Did they advertise this a lot?
There was some Flash Gordon merchandise stuff, but see, the problem is kids bought that stuff, and kids have to... you only get $2 a week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy Flash Gordon stuff. I'm going to buy Empire Strikes Back stuff. Sorry, Flash.
This is around the same time Empire was coming out, and I think they might have used that to their advantage, because this
definitely
is an evil empire too.
Yep.
They have their starships and their destroy all life kind of mentality. Their guards, their stormtroopers.
They're faceless people.
Yeah,
I like the ones that are the metal that look like a skull.
The metal skull.
That's awesome.
I really like how there's a lot of character and personality in the background of this.
Yes, I was just going to say that too. One of the stars is the sets and the costumes.
Yeah, it really is, because you start on Earth, and it's Earth, but then you go into the vortex and you're in space, and everything has a personality to it. From the ship itself to the costumes they're wearing, you can tell there's a story behind it, and it's up to our imagination to infer what that story is. And I think that's a really cool and smart thing to do, especially for a movie like this that is based on a comic book, that is based on film serials, that is now a spectacular movie, to just kind of let it be and let us interpret and view the world how they're presenting it to us.
Right.
I think that's a very smart idea.
It's very colorful. Everything is really colorful.
It's insanely red.
Yeah, there's a ton of red.
I don't think there's a single shot where red wasn't the primary color once they got into space.
Except for maybe the Woods people. Timothy Dalton's place.
A lot of green. A lot of green there. Browns
Flash,
and greens.
I think, isn't Flash wearing his tank top by then?
He is.
Yeah, so there's still red. There's always red.
And in film, red is danger, love, and like treachery. And I think that's kind of telling of what this story is. You're in constant danger from everything.
Yes.
And it's a story about the guy getting the girl at the end.
Right. Plus, Flash is dangerous to them in the status quo.
And he's not a superhero.
No,
he's just a guy.
He's just a man
with a man's courage. And I think it's really cool that they kept that, because you could always have, this is a serum to give you superpowers, and they don't do that.
No, they don't do anything like that. He uses his football skills.
Yeah, that's
literally.
They throw him that egg, and he starts beating people up with it and getting into like a football form, and that's just cool to see. Like, it's not he's your everyday Joe,
right?
And he's taken on this, and he beats this evil empire. He's constantly in danger, and he's finding a way to either outsmart it or just to outman it. And
the thing, because that is what he is doing, but it doesn't have like Indiana Jones has. It seems like, because it was based also on the serials, back at the time. There's no real cliffhanger moments in this, the way they did it in Raiders.
Yeah,
he's going to get out of it. It's how, and it's just a little bit slower. The pace of there's action in it and spectacular stuff, but it's just slower. It seems slower.
And I think Raiders might even be longer than this.
I think it might be too, like 6 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This is less than 2 hours, just under 2 hours. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think there's a Steven Spielberg movie that's not less than 2 hours. Maybe 1941.
But I mean, I do feel like the pacing of it kind of gets clunky. Maybe it is because it's just constant action. Like, you don't have a lot of reprieve in between your action scenes, and if you do, it's for like a minute or two. Yeah,
and like the story's told alongside the action.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like break for exposition or anything.
No, there's not really a break at all. In every single shot of this movie, somebody's either fighting or running away from danger.
Yeah.
Which is telling of the color and how just kids movie this feels like it was focused on.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't feel like it's made for like adults. I mean, obviously adults would enjoy this, but like this feels like it was could have been a Saturday morning.
Yeah, a cereal.
Cereal, yeah. Which I think is a cool thing to do because you have. He's just a guy hero. He's someone you can look up to,
right?
And it's just like playing with your toys. You just constantly fighting each other. You're fighting the bad guy. You're trying to save the day, and this movie really exemplifies that. They also, with the flying, the Hawkmen flying.
Yeah,
I think they tried to do the Superman stuff,
right?
And they just kind of missed it. They kept everybody as close to the top of the frame as they can get them.
Yeah.
So that when they flow off, they're flying off a screen, and it's easier to hide the the strings and everything. But I found that it's not as distracting as I thought it would be.
I don't think it is.
After a while, you kind of find it funny that you can tell they're just floating in the air. They're not really flying.
Right. Their wings don't flap a lot.
They don't flap. They either don't flap at all, or they're just very basically moving up and down. And the Hawkmen, I think, is kind of funny. There's a lot of I wonder if it was intentional to reference DC superheroes, or if it was just a coincidence.
No, that all came out before Hawkmen in DC.
Really?
Yeah, because there's Hawkman in the Flash Gordon comic strip stuff too.
Okay,
that predates all that.
Because you've got the Hawkmen.
It was probably the exact opposite.
I think the DC people
were influenced by that or worked on it.
Because even like the Flash has the lightning bolt. Iconic.
I love that.
Yeah, and so does Flash Gordon. He's got the lightning bolt on his back, and he's wearing the red.
Yeah.
This movie also kind of feels like it could have inspired He-Man. Like
He-Man? Wow.
Because you got the big sword at the very end, the 80s mullet-looking thing, the blonde hair, the big muscles. Like, I think you can... this was the ground layer of what would become a lot of huge iconography.
The Masters of the Universe people were probably fans of Flash Gordon movie. I'm sure they were.
It just they seem very similar, and I'm kind of surprised this didn't take off.
Well, yeah, there was. They all signed contracts for multi picture deals.
Yeah,
and probably Sam Jones. I guess he had a big falling out with Dino De Laurentiis, and he left before they were done shooting it. So, like, a lot of voiceover overdubs were done by a whole different guy. And speaking of that, the Hawkman, the main Hawkman, shoot, I forgot his name. That actor, he replaced all his lines too. So late in the production, the guy that says that he's alive on the song is the original actor and not the guy that you hear on the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So they were going to have a multi-picture thing going on, and for whatever reason, I couldn't find why it didn't go through. Because it made money. It made more double its budget, which is now what you have to do to break even.
Yeah.
So back then, it made money, people went to see it, and critics liked it. There's no reason why
it didn't.
There wasn't
spawn.
more Flash Gordons. Yeah,
and like I mean, the way they end it is an open-ended cliffhanger, and
it opens the door for everything. Yeah,
yeah, and it just never got any traction because I think Flash Gordon, He-Man, and the Thundercats guy all could have teamed up and like could have been the biggest thing in 80s cartoons.
But speaking of the end, that hand, the writer said that was Klaatu, and Klaatu wears that mask. He's the guy that looks like Darth Vader. Which is really good, like the mouth moves and everything.
Yeah, I thought it kind of looked like Doctor Doom myself.
I think it looks exactly like Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom inspired some of Darth Vader too. But anyway, that's his hand because he's clones of Ming. So if something happens to Ming, a clone can immediately take over, and then just another clone becomes Klaatu.
Wow.
Then that would have been great.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And it's not shoehorned. The villain's back.
No, yeah,
it's a real thing that could happen. Well, not really happen, but in their universe,
that's how it could have happened.
Not like Palpatine. Palpatine's back. No, man.
And what's funny about that is that in the expanded universe, Palpatine did the whole cloning thing too. Palpatine came back as a clone.
The comic book series Shadows of the Empire.
Dark Empire,
yeah. They show all that stuff, and it's totally plausible.
And it works.
Not just, guess what?
Somehow
and everybody
Palpatine
knows it.
Returned. Yeah. And if you take the time to kind of establish a reason behind it, your villain coming back it's not always a cop-out to me.
No, it's not, if you do it right.
Yeah, and I think that this idea is a great idea because, like, imagine you go in and, he's back. How is he back? And you find out not only is it a clone, but they have more clones. You can't get rid of them like that.
Right. It's perfect.
And he's super evil, so there's no negotiating with it.
And that's got to be genetic.
Yeah, but that also explains why he didn't care when his daughter was getting tortured.
Yeah, or anything. And the weird... their whole relationship at the very beginning when he's like, I want to let me keep Flash for a toy, and she's like, you'll break him.
Best to execute him.
All that, it's kind of weird.
And I think that's such a cool idea. Something I've noticed too, right in the beginning of the movie when they find Earth, he's like, the inhabitants call it Earth, like he's trying to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But then they activate earthquakes.
Right.
It's like, so you already have that word. Why are you pretending like you don't know how to say that word? And I think that's kind of funny and maybe something that was oversought. Like when they were writing this, they were like, because aliens don't know how to pronounce Earth, they're going to say it how they say it.
Right.
And then they're like, we're going to destroy this planet by shaking it up and throw fire hail at it and earthquakes. And you're like, well, hang on there. Well, you can't do that. And I think that was just a little oversight.
Shut up, Dan. We're just doing this.
Yeah. We talked about the opening of Barbarella being unique in its own way. Mm-hmm. She's kind of stripping away her suit, and the music's very frilly.
Yeah.
It's James Bondy kind of sounding.
60s sounding.
This one is very different.
Yeah.
This one is more brash. It's more kind of in your face. It's a couple swoops away from being an iconic 80s intro, because like if they did like what Superman did, like with all the
names
coming in
I
with
love that song is so good,
and it is good, and I think it would have fit this movie too if it did that, but it is very brash, it's very in your face, and this whole movie is, I mean, it sets the tone. It's gonna be in your face. It's gonna be,
it is
constant. Like there's not gonna be like little like B roll of a pickup shot of like the ring or something like that. It's all just right there.
Howard Blake did that music, the orchestral music, and of course Queen did all the other stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't know, it kind of works and it kind of doesn't with Queen. If they had only done that theme song and then this Howard Blake did the rest of the music, I think it would have been better.
You do?
I don't know. It just doesn't work.
See, I'm kind of the exact opposite. I think that the usage of Queen's rock music at the points of like the conflict when she's getting married.
Yeah, like when she's getting married and they play the Earth Wedding March.
Yeah, that's cool. And it's on the electric guitar.
Yeah.
I think that was really I think that was really cool because it was they didn't just say, "Oh, we're going to do this one song," and then have to do everything else. They went all out on all of it. I was almost looking for the band members themselves to make cameos in the movie.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Because I thought Brian May might have been one of the Hawkmen, because he looks like he can fit right in.
One of the small people in that are going to gas him.
Yeah.
Flash at the kind of the beginning is Kenny Baker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's R2-D2.
That's cool.
That is cool.
He's all over the place.
He's all under the place.
Oh. Dr. Zarloff wakes up at the very beginning to the news that the Earth is under attack. And the news is reporting as he's waking up that Dr. Zarloff says there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So when did that happen? Because I was looking at the bonus features on this, and it didn't come with any deleted scenes.
Yeah, and I didn't see any kind of... My DVD didn't have anything about it on there.
So I'm wondering...
And he was the one yelling, the sky's falling and everything.
Yeah, he got kicked out of NASA and everything.
Right.
But it turns out he was right.
Right.
And that's, I don't know, it's funny the little inconsistencies that happen in this movie, as if they took out shots and scenes and stuff like that, but there's nothing that they put like in the bonus features or anything like that. So I wonder if it was just done way before, because like in like Goodfellas, Marty's commercial, that was the first thing they shot months before they even started anything else, because they knew they wanted it, they just didn't know where they were going to put it. So I wonder if this is where that stuff happens. They knew they wanted the news reporter talking about what's going on, but they just didn't know where they wanted to put it. I think that's what that was.
Yeah, like it was in the script.
Yeah,
because they did go through two different production, like the writer and the director.
Yeah,
he originally, Dino De Laurentiis had two other guys. He didn't like the way they were going, so he switched over to the two that ended up doing it. It's his name, Mike Baker or something. I just forgot his name. Anyway, one thing that I think is cool. The princess there, the evil princess, has a little person for like a pet.
Yeah.
And he's named Fellini.
Huh.
And she says it. I'm like, I wonder, why did he say that, if it was a dig or not? He originally had Federico Fellini had the rights to it, and he never ended up making the movie. Flash Gordon, and De Laurentiis bought him the rights off of him, I think. So I think that's a little aside,
nod.
To that.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I mean,
it's a blink or you'll miss it. She says, "Come on, Fellini," that's it. And there's other stuff going on at the same time.
Right. But I wonder what this movie would have been like if Fellini made it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I just got done watching Amarcord. I know that's that's a slice of life movie that's not really, it's got no real narrative to it other than his childhood. But like...
Yeah, right. I know what you're talking about.
With that and like 8.5, I wonder how this movie would have went if he would have done it. Because he is more of an artsy kind of guy.
Right.
And... it could have been something completely unwatchable or something.
I don't remember when Salvador Dali died, but he did like a dream sequence for an Alfred Hitchcock movie. I shouldn't have started talking about this because I forgot which one it is. And I have a feeling he would have had him do the sets and stuff, so it might have been almost exactly the same.
Yeah, and this movie, I don't know. It's so like a what if universe thing to think about. Like what if
they're flying through and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna hit this planet." It's just floating rocks.
Yeah, like
and the whole sky is that weird, almost
like
milkshake
oil painting.
Yeah,
yeah,
which
like
I love.
Wet paint. I wonder. I wonder how that world, because like the way I interpret it is kind of like how Brainiac is. Like the Hawk people are the last of the Hawk people, and they have a little island on his planet that they can live on.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because there's no way that space travel if he's on a little scooter bike going from world to world. I mean, this movie.
Yeah, I bet that's perfect. Yeah, that makes total sense now.
Because he's a conqueror kind of guy,
right?
So like
it
would make
sense.
And he's very vain. Yeah. But to speak on that, with the sky, these are sets. And
obviously.
They've got a lot of blue screen behind them.
Yeah,
and you can tell
sometimes.
And there's a couple times where I think it works really well with what they're doing, like when Flash has got the blue halo around him because the keying didn't work really well, and it's hard to do with hair. It gives him a blue halo, and I think that's kind of cool when you have it offset by the freaky psychedelic colors behind him. I think that it's the inverse of the golden halo around the wannabe hero. It's a blue halo over the actual hero, the man who's becoming the myth and legend. But it's all because a lot of people get on the Star Wars prequels for having so much CGI in them, but like this is your early CGI. This is all blue screen. Yeah, and they do kind of the same thing as those movies do, because like a lot of the time there's a set built, and then they have everything else filled in with blue or green. This movie's doing the very same thing, and I think it's the ideal way to do these things. I think a lot can be said about having a physical set there. Definitely. Something that the actors can work off of, something that they can act inside of, because there's not a moment in time where I'm like, oh, well, this is drab and uncool to watch. Yeah, it's got so much elements in it that it basically speaks for itself. You can take a picture of these sets and frame it. That's how
they
look.
They are beautiful.
They're really nice. So I would like to see more of that today, where you have these built sets, so you film out in the actual location and then add in your effects after that, with it after that, instead of having everything basically made in a computer. Right. Because you can just tell, you can see the difference when Flash is being dragged into the murder chamber. Yep. And if that wasn't even really there, like the smoke, even the thick green smoke gas that's killing him. It's all practical, and it's done practically, and it works really well, and I would like to see a return to practical effects in the modern day.
I think they are going to be going that way because people are getting real sick of, and it's expensive. Yeah, and they don't want to pay for it, so it ends up just being crap.
Exactly.
Like I was watching a thing about some movie. Oh, now I forgot the name of it. Anyway, they go back in time. It's based on a Ray Bradbury story. And you basically take a vacation and go hunt dinosaurs. Well after Jurassic Park came out, and the dinosaurs look like crap. Like video game dinosaurs look way better, and it's just don't bother doing it. Like the thing. Yeah. To this, if you're gonna know, because when I was a kid, holy shit! Wow, when the dog's face comes apart and his skull, we're like, what? And they remake it with all practical effects, and then the studio's like, no, cover them up with computer.
Cover them with CGI, like you had the effects. There's evidence that they looked really good because there's footage of the practical effects. You can watch how it all worked, and it looks very good. And then you just cover it up, right? And I find it funny that you do that, because like practical effects are not cheap. No, like they're not cheap at all. And you throw all this money and time into it just to be like, we'll just cover it up.
Yeah, that was
bad idea.
If they hadn't done that, I think that movie would have been a bigger success.
I think it would have too, because
it had the same success as the other one when it came out. But it's not going to be a cult classic like The Thing.
No, and isn't it weird how The Thing is a cult classic?
Yeah, it is weird.
It's such a great movie.
It is. Oh, yeah, well, we're not talking about The Thing. Because I was just going to go off about it. The Thing came out, I think, a year after this, or the same year.
I think it is 80.
Maybe it's 2 years. This came out in 80, and I think The Thing is 81.
Okay.
But Anyway, Flash Gordon's good.
Very good. I wrote down more stuff here.
Okay, here while you look at that, Topol, the guy that plays Zarkov, Dr. Zarkov,
Yeah.
is in a James Bond movie called For Your Eyes Only, and he's like an ally of James Bond. And yeah, it's For Your Eyes Only. And then Timothy Dalton, who's the Forest guy leader, Prince, whatever, is plays James Bond in a few years from this.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton. I find it funny how often he's popping up and how just because he's a really good actor.
He is a good actor,
and he just takes anything I think he can get.
Oh, really?
I think because he's in this as just a side character. He's in Hot Fuzz as like the villain.
Hot Fuzz is great.
He's in Doctor Who.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, as the head of the planet the Doctor's from. And he's just shown up in different things. I haven't found a real consistency to it other than James Bond.
That's really cool.
But yeah, he just takes anything. I think he's like an actor's actor.
And exactly. And he's making a living doing what he loves. That's perfect. I'm not crapping on Timothy Dalton.
Not
but
at
those
all.
James Bond movies suck. They are too. I didn't even bother watching two of them.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, those are the best too.
He didn't. Yeah. And for me, a big deal was he didn't look like Roger Moore because I was a stupid kid at the time. But they're not good. They're kind of real boring, and I think my opinion of Timothy Dalton was sullied by that and the whole hype around how he's not a real good James Bond. And then I seen Hot Fuzz,
and you're like, oh,
I was like, wow, he's great.
Yeah,
he was perfect. He's so hilarious.
He's got a
really
good
great
face.
in this too.
Yeah, he's got a good face.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He's an actor. He better have a great face.
Well, I don't know how else to describe it, but like the role he plays is the role I see him playing
in Flash Gordon. You mean?
Yeah. In Flash Gordon, Doctor Who, and Hot Fuzz, like he's either a commanding guy or like your Han Solo friend who's gonna help you do whatever you're doing. Something I wanted to bring up is this movie is set in the modern time of the 1980s, and then they go into space, and everything's kind of medieval.
Yes,
like it's a futuristic medieval look.
I think that's really cool,
and it's very unique. I think that was a great idea because right now you got Star Wars you're competing with, you've got Star Trek you're competing with.
Yeah, you're going to start competing with the Star Trek movie.
Exactly. So to do something completely different was a smart idea because you're not going to confuse this with anything else.
Nope,
it's just going to be Flash Gordon. There is no way you can look at Empire Strikes Back and then you look at Flash Gordon and be like, well, I don't know which one's which.
Right.
And that is such a smart move for a movie like this in this time to do, because there was hundreds of Star Wars ripoffs. There's hundreds of things like this, so it could have been very easy for the studio to go, oh well, we can just try to make Star Wars again.
Not
and
a sword, have it be a light sword.
Exactly.
Because they do shoot lasers and stuff in the field around the city.
Yeah.
It was kind of crap.
The lightning force.
Yeah, lightning.
It's kind of funny that Star Wars got as big as it did, and this was a movie that came out around the sequel of Star Wars, being the movie of the show that Star Wars is inspired off of.
Exactly. He tried to get the rights to it.
Yeah, and he couldn't.
He couldn't, so he made Star Wars.
Yeah.
He said, "Hold my beer." Oh, I can't. Yeah, watch this.
Yeah, watch me make this.
George wishes he had all that bravado when he was making Star Wars.
Well, yeah, he thought that movie was going to be terrible.
Hey, Steve, my movie's coming out tomorrow. You want to go to Hawaii?
Yeah, will you come with me to Hawaii? I don't want to be around here. And yeah, so exactly. So we've got these worlds that speak volumes without speaking volumes about them. There's not a whole lot of exposition about anything in this movie.
Nope, and I love it.
It's so great. It's very refreshing to like not have my hand held.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because they do that constantly now.
All the time.
And,
all the time.
Oh, that button on your shirt has to have a backstory.
Yeah.
Here's a movie of the backstory of that. Come on, man.
There's a lot.
Some things just are.
Yeah.
If you start a job, there's stuff that was already there, and you can just kind of go with the flow of it.
And go with the flow with it, and kind of as the story progresses, you're like, okay, so these little square guys in the very beginning of it, they are probably on their own planet that were already conquered, and they're serving Ming too. It's you don't need everybody's individual flashbacks and backstories.
Yeah.
You can just...
There it is. Han Solo and Chewbacca are friends. Why? Well, who cares? They're just friends, even though I like Solo. But
I like Solo, too. He's also, like, on the cover of this and everything. Flash is pictured with that giant sword.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever use it.
At the end, he points it at Ming, and that's it.
And then Ming kills himself. He doesn't... He fisticuffs everybody he gets in.
Right. Or hits him with a football-looking thing.
Yeah. Like, even when Timothy Dalton and him are fighting for their lives, and he's got that whip, he's barely using the whip.
Right.
He's trying to fight him. He's fighting him like a man.
That was the best part, though.
It's so good.
When his eyes come flat to his eyes, come to his head.
His eyes and his tongue are popping out of his...
Yeah, and his tongue. And I remember, I always thought that was much longer than it is. Mm-hmm. It's only for like a second.
Yeah.
That you just see it for a second. And when I rewatched it way later when I was a teenager and stuff, I was anticipating that part. I'm like, that was it? It was an hour long in my memory.
I first saw this movie as a kid.
Yeah, I know. I watched it. The same one you were watched.
And I rewatched it now, and I think this is a great kids movie.
It is. That's what I was going to say. Because how Star Wars, when they say a kids movie, they're talking about teenagers.
Yeah.
And like teenagers aren't really old teenagers, like 17, 18-year-old teenagers aren't really considered kids so much anymore.
Right.
But excuse me, it was the toys that the younger kids helped propel that.
Yeah.
The spectacle of it, like a lot of adults weren't keen on it, on Star Wars. They thought it was cool, but now it's over and that's it. But children ate it up like nothing. And I think when they were making this movie, they thought, you know what, we got the best of both worlds here, because we're going to get kids buying toys and stuff and posters and all that crap. But older people are going to remember it from when they were kids. And I could see it's made for adults.
Yeah.
But because it's PG, there's some violence in it. The adults who were fans of Flash Gordon when they were little kids could have a good time at it. It was... I'm like, why didn't they do more?
Well, and it was
a great idea.
It's a perfect blend of being dark,
that's the word.
To where you feel like if you're like when I was a kid, like I feel like, oh my god, I'm watching. Should I be watching this? Like this is kind of dark. This is a little bit more
sexy
adult.
too.
And then not being so simple that an adult couldn't enjoy it either. It's that perfect blend of.
It totally is.
What PG should be.
Right. It's like a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Used to be. It was a perfect blend of that. Adults can like it and kids can like it too.
Exactly.
So you watched it in 4K.
I did.
How'd it look?
It looked really good.
Could you tell? I know you probably only saw it once back in the day on DVD. But could you tell the difference in your memory?
It looks cleaner.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. So
I was watching it, looked damn good.
And by all means, it looks good. But like I watched the Arrow 4K, and they did a lot of restorations to a lot of digital scrubbing, so you don't get as much film grain on it. But I think it looks really well. But I'm also watching it on a 4K player on a 4K TV.
Right. Yeah.
So everything's gonna look good on that. But I think it looks. I think it's worth checking out on 4K if you find it on 4K, because with a movie like this being a space opera, a spectacle, it does it favors looking as
That's
clean
good.
as you can get it.
'Cause a lot of times it does
The
exact
opposite. Yeah. Well, and the world is supposed to be kind of a lived-in world, but because Ming is as vain as he is, his entire palace is very pristine and clean.
Sure, it makes sense.
It looks really well, and then when they go over to the swamp world, it still looks grimy. It still looks gross. The little Sarlacc monster coming out like that. It doesn't look like a soap opera. It looks cleaned, but not like overly polished.
Yeah, right. That's good. You didn't lose anything.
No,
when they were gaining stuff.
And I will say that this is something I think you should strive to see in the best quality you can.
Probably.
Because even though they do these nice wide shots where like you got the spaceship coming in, a big thundercloud, and then Flash and the Hawkmen behind it, and it's a nice big wide shot, and you can see it all, and it looks really good, and it complements everything. The 4K restoration does complement what you're watching. The color is vibrant. It is crispy. It is.
It's like vomit.
Yeah, it is. It's right there. So yeah, overall, I'm not always gonna say go find it in 4K, but this time I think I will, because it does it thousands of favors.
Right.
It works with it, not against it.
Yeah, it looks so. Because I remember watching on VHS, and the DVD was just so much. It just pops so much, and I don't think there's that big of a difference between DVD and Blu-ray and 4K.
Right.
There is some, but there was a huge difference from tape to
I would
DVD.
imagine.
Well, it was restored too for that. I think I have an anniversary edition, whatever when it came out, and so they took the time to do that, and it did everything. It's a real crime that a lot of this movie got lost on videotape, and I don't just mean quality-wise, because it was pan and scan. So you missed a third of of everything. And like we were saying, the sets and the costumes are a huge character.
You don't want to miss that.
You miss it in that.
And what's really cool is looking at the back of this case here, the 4K restoration of this Arrow video was.
Are they giving you money?
No, but listen, I will push them because it is great. I love Arrow. It was approved by the director, Mike Hodges, so he sat down with them and helped them out, which is becoming a common thing. What's his name? David Fincher. He sat down for 7 and went through every single shot in that movie to make sure it looked exactly how it was supposed to look.
For a 4K version?
For a 4K version.
Oh, no kidding.
No.
Is there any difference?
Well, it's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
Or if it is, my pre-order isn't here yet.
You haven't gotten it yet.
I haven't gotten it yet. But I can only imagine what... Because, when they go into John Doe's apartment and those windows are all whited out, well, they're... what was he saying? They put white paper there so that they wouldn't, but they didn't want to do that. They couldn't get it looking right, so they whited it out. In this, they put what was supposed to be there behind there, so you had to go into individual frames and literally create the cityscape.
Right. Yeah. That's cool.
When that movie comes out,
yeah, definitely. I got to see that, because he's a guy he's an attention to detail guy.
Yeah, he's a filmmaker.
Right. So I don't know, I really like his pacing the most. But that kind of stuff, I'd love to check that out.
I would like to see, because they're doing all this stuff, and I would really like to see like a documentary of how they're doing all this stuff. Because if I tell you they cleaned it, they cleaned the film. Like, what does that mean? It's digital scrubbing. Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, that's
how do
weird.
you do that? And I think that's a beautiful thing to kind of venture into.
I think it's fascinating too, but I think that's got a pretty narrow audience. But like in Empire Strikes Back, it looks awesome that the Bespin is all white.
Right.
But I do like... they would have windows if they lived up there.
Of
Absolutely.
course they would.
And it's beautiful out there. And them inserting those windows in there was perfect.
And it complements
like
it.
what they're gonna do with 7.
Yeah, it complements it, and it looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't lose anything with it. You know, it's not. It doesn't ruin anything. It doesn't make it feel worse or any of that. It's something that I'm glad they're doing, especially if at the time you couldn't make it happen, and now there's the technologies here that you can make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't want them to remake 7 at all.
They can't.
You can't remake 7.
Everything about that, it's like Flash Gordon. It's of its time.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Although, I think Flash Gordon should make a comeback.
Oh, definitely.
Flash Gordon. I think this man. We are in the nostalgic bubble time.
Yeah.
Where they're making stuff from your childhood. I think
Right.
Flash Gordon and Barbarella. I think they should come back because I think now is your time to have that market audience for it.
Absolutely. And you don't have to bother coming up with a story.
Nope.
They've got one. You just got to kind of tweak it a little bit.
Make it for the modern time. Make it for the modern audience.
Yeah. Well, you can't say that. No, don't make it for a modern audience. Make it
for everybody.
to suit its own story.
Yeah.
But you don't have to say words like golly gee whiz and humdinger. You could say, oh shit. Do that. But don't, we're not going to talk about that. Listen, Mike Hodgins made a bunch of movies, and one of them I never saw. And I would go to a video store, and this is one I would pick it up and put it back down. Mm-hmm. And I watched the trailer for it today. It's called Morons from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks hilarious. Holy crap, I should have watched it way back then. But he made Get Carter with Michael Caine, which they remade with Sylvester Stallone, which didn't do very good. Mm-hmm. And I guess this Get Carter is a classic. I haven't seen it. And also, he made a Mickey Rourke movie called A Prayer for the Dying. Oh? That I had seen way back when I was watching Mickey Rourke movies on purpose. Because he's so cool, man. The guy is cool. And that was right before he became a boxer. Mm-hmm. An unsuccessful, got his face beat up boxer.
Yeah.
But man, he was cool. I used to make my hair look like his on purpose. That's how stupid I was.
I'm in the watching Dennis Hoffman movies phase right now.
Dennis Hopper?
There's a Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, man, he's so good.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I love him and everything
amazing.
I've seen him.
Yeah. Did you see
so
Little
good.
Big Man?
No, I've got to find Little Big Man.
What about Lenny?
I think I've seen Lenny.
About Lenny Bruce? It's black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. See, just those two movies. And then you think about Rain Man. They're all so completely different characters and 100% believable.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
He's such a good actor. I was going to watch Marathon Man last night.
Oh, my God.
But it was midnight, and I had to go to bed.
And that was... he's just an everyman in that.
Yeah.
He could be playing Dustin Hoffman in that. But everything. Man, what's it? Oh, Hook.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
I love
it's
that
so
movie.
terrible.
Because it's terrible.
Well, let me tell you, he had somebody else write his lines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a Steven Spielberg movie,
Steven Spielberg
and it's
movie.
just crap. I don't like it. Except for the part, he didn't had somebody else wrote it.
Yeah.
When he's like, he's got a gun to his head, and he's like, don't stop me. Don't stop me. Stop me. Don't stop me. And he's, why are you stopping? But Dustin Hoffman, man, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of Dustin Hoffman in Flash Gordon. Wow, that would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome.
If he was, Topol does a great job. I'm not saying that, but what if Dustin Hoffman was him? He's the only one I can't see him being Ming.
No.
He definitely can't be Flash.
No.
But he would have been a good Dr. Zarkov.
He would have been. He would have been a great Dr. Zarkov.
Yeah, he would have been. It would have won an Academy Award.
I like Dr. Zarkov in this. I like
Me
how
too. He's great.
Peculiar he is.
Yes, he is. He plays a mad scientist, like a mad scientist.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
But he's got like a moral compass too.
Yeah.
What?
And he's smart.
Why is there not more Flash movies?
I don't know. I bet he's smart too, and I love that
he's a genius.
Because they don't. Obviously, he's NASA scientist, but like he gets his memory wiped, and they're like, "Well, go infiltrate them," and he just does it, and then they're escaping. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I completely fooled them. I was thinking about the Beatles while they were trying to wipe my mind. You can't get me." Like and just to have the character do that to where we think, oh my God, he's gone now. That was horrible. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I think that's hilarious. That right there is the perfect way to execute like a twist.
Yeah, it is.
Great way to do that. I also like how they're viewing his memories like all the way back to birth, but then they intercut it with just like humanity's worst moments.
Right.
Just
he lived through the Holocaust is the point of it.
Well,
and it came out in the 80s, so it's plausible that he did.
Right.
And it's like newsreel footage.
Or just like a stock
stuff
photo.
He could not have seen some of that stuff. But
and a lot of it's in like first person views, like the camera's moving as if it's the child, but then you got like just a
pictures
textbook
of
image of pictures of Hitler, yeah.
And Klaatu was like, oh, he had promise.
Which I think is awesome that they're evil people. Not for a second do you think they're not going to be evil.
Right.
That is phenomenal.
Yes, it is. And they're evil for evil's sake, not because...
they're not victims
of something that made them that way.
They're conquerors. They're evil conquerors. They enjoy doing this.
Right.
They're Ming and the princess are going to have... not the princess, the human girl, are going to have a wedding. And to commemorate the wedding, they're going to execute the rest of their friends.
Right.
That's they're evil people.
Right.
I think that's really because there's the forms of storytelling where it's like just good versus evil, and this is just good versus evil.
Right.
Like Flash is just a good guy.
Like when Dale is going to be his concubine, Ming's concubine, and they bring him that green liquor stuff. So she roofies herself because they're like, she's like, will it make me forget? No, but you just won't mind that you remember.
So she just, all right.
She roofies herself.
But yeah, overall, I think this movie's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
For the whole family.
A fun ride for the whole family. It's a great cinematography, great image quality. Great. It's just great. I'm a big fan of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the way it's composed because all that orchestra stuff is really good too.
Yeah, that guy did a good job.
Each character feels like it's its own thing. Nobody's a duplicate of another character.
Yep. They're three-dimensional.
All very three-dimensional. So I would give this movie a solid 5 out of 5.
I'd give it a 5 out of 5.
A great movie.
It's a highly recommendable.
Highly recommendable.
Because even if you said it to somebody and then they watched it, they're going to watch the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, you can't
even if they don't
watch
like it, they're going to stay through the end.
Because it's that good.
Yeah, and it looks fabulous.
And it keeps your attention the entire time, mainly because it's all action, so there's always something to see. But it's a great 80s film that feels of the time. It's like a capsule in itself. Itself. That, man, I would just go watch it. You can rent it on Apple TV. I own the 4K Arrow. You can get that on DVD. Amazon. You'd
have to go buy a used one, probably.
I will post a Amazon link to the Flash Gordon that I got so that you can watch it too at home.
How much was the 4K expensive?
I got it on sale for, I want to say like $27.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
And they've got this really nice box set of it. That's like $50 to $60, but it comes with a poster and cards and.
Is it the poster?
Yeah, it'll look like the
movie poster because that's great.
And sometimes I've got the Ring one, and it's reversible, so it's the movie poster and then it's Arrow's.
Well, if it's the other artwork that's on the other side of your 4K, that's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's very exciting to look at.
Carlito's Way has the original poster on the other side. It's because Carlito's Way has a really cool Arrow artwork for it.
Does it?
Yeah, and it's if you like it better than the original poster, then there you go. But yeah, I like it. That's why I would suggest buying this one because they do such a great job. You really get your money's worth, and they got great bonus features. This one had a couple interviews, production.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Stuff like that, images, trailers. So yeah, I would 100% give it a watch, give it a try, tell your friends about it, get Flash Gordon back in the air because he's coming to save the day. Flash!
Oh, you know what else I was thinking of all week? The part of that song. And the Nightman song from It's Always Funny. Sunny in
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, if you don't know that, you probably... I'm not recommending it because it's... everybody should not watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No.
You got to have a certain sense of humor for that.
Yeah, maybe watch the pilot before you give it a shot.
Yeah. But then the Nightman song, he keeps doing that.
Yeah, I think, again, this is the culturally in the zeitgeist still. Because Ted was a hit amongst the youth.
Yeah. And
they constantly reference this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, because I think Ted's a great movie. I love it. It's funny.
It is funny.
And they're big fans of Flash Gordon because more obviously Seth MacFarlane is.
Right.
But
what isn't Seth MacFarlane a fan of?
Yeah, really. And I can see Mark Wahlberg being old enough to be a fan of it. And they're huge fans of it. And I was thinking about this. They happened to run into Sam Jones at a party. That's upstairs someplace at some crappy apartment building.
Yeah.
It's too implausible to me. And I think it's cool that he's in it and all that kind of stuff, but that really ruins it.
I really love it though when they're like, oh my God, and then it cuts over and it's a pan up of him walking forward and then playing the theme song. I think that is great. Sam Jones thinking that guy is Ming the Merciless. But I've lived several years now, right?
And
just a few.
I have never, ever, not once, accidentally ran into a famous person in my entire life. And I've been to crappy apartments in cities. Never once have I been, and you got to come here because Liam Neeson's here or whatever. It's never happened. That's what I don't like about Ted. But I like Flash.
I like Flash. Flash is our hero. I think that's all I've got to say about this movie. Yeah. I've been Cheese Film
and Hecubus,
and welcome. We'll see you next time in the Dark Corner.